Think we are live and welcome once again. Haley, you ready to kick it off?
Yeah. All right, everyone. So welcome to our second YouTube Live. We like to open these up to our alumni and anyone else who wants to join and learn about Scrum and innovation. But this gives our alumni and some others opportunities to ask our expert, Chris Sims, some questions. So we're going to
No
go ahead and
pressure whatsoever. It means I have to pretend to be an expert.
Yeah. So we got some questions submitted beforehand, but also feel free to use the, I don't know what they call it, I guess the comment feature in the live on YouTube to submit questions. So we'll be fielding those. And if we don't get to all of the questions, be sure to put your name and email, or we might know who you are, but go ahead and do that in the chat, and we will send you an email with the answer to your question. And feel free to say hello. We'd love to see some interaction going on. So I guess we can go ahead and get started, unless, Chris, there's anything else you wanted to say before we jump right in.
No, except Haley, you're in a different location that we're going to talk a little bit about later.
I am.
And so just a little bit of mystery there, but we
Yeah.
do have to get you a better camera in there. But it's a cool location that you're in, not too far from
Yeah.
where I'm at right now. It's going to be a big part of what we're doing moving forward. But I can't wait to get some good questions, and let's talk about some innovation. Let's talk about some Scrum. Let's get some knowledge shared, or at least see if we can stop me, which is not very hard to do. So
Yeah. So the last YouTube Live, we talked a lot about Scrum, and we obviously, we love Scrum here at Sigao. So we'll still be talking about Scrum. And like I said, please feel free to ask questions live. But let's kick it off with an innovation question. And Chris, let's talk about how we approach innovation at Sigao, and any advice that you have to approach innovation within your company.
so let's start with an easy question, right?
Yeah.
Innovation. I'm really glad we're talking about this topic because it's such an important concept and really vital for today's businesses, and not really just today's business. It's just vital if you want to survive in a growing, fast-paced business world. The ability to innovate, the ability to create, to come up with new approaches to solving problems. Humans have been doing this since the first time we put two sticks together and tried to create fire. And when we said, hey, let's take this lone plank and let's turn it into a wheel. We've been trying to innovate and do things easier, solve human problems better. So over the last year and a half, I've had the opportunity to work with some of the world's leaders in innovation and in agility, working with some of the largest organizations and seeing what they're doing and the value that they're placing on innovation and agility within their company. And the reality is, often we'll go in, we'll see companies that are spending a lot of money on keeping the lights on. I've seen in, say, a company with $1 billion budget, they were spending 75% of that, $750 million on just keeping the lights on. And often IT revolves around that. But the reality is that if that's all you're focusing on, keeping the lights on, doing the things that it requires just to keep moving forward, someone is going to come in and steal your lunch money. That's steal your lunch. That's kind of the reality of this. Jeff Solar even says that Scrum exists to put companies out of business. And the reality is, what it means when he says that is we're going to help companies that want to embrace agility learn how to innovate faster and solve more human problems, therefore solving them better, solving them for less money, solving them faster, and improving. And so this idea behind innovation is the process by which we create better value in the world by solving human problems in new and unique ways. So we approach innovation at Sigao as not optional, but mandatory. It's absolutely required. And innovation in the Scrum world, innovation is all about failing fast, failing often, but failing forward. It's trying lots of different things that might not work and making sure out of every single sprint that some percentage of the work we're doing is trying to solve problems in ways that haven't been solved before. Trying to solve and learn ways that we can better understand the humans in our machine, understand the problems they're dealing with, and create new approaches to solving those problems so that we find the solution fit of new ways to do it. And when we do that, and we can do that faster than the environment, faster than our competitors, faster than the world around us, that's going to allow us to create a more profitable, more valuable company by understanding humans, understanding the problems that they have, and getting really good at trying to create and solve those problems. So we've approached innovation as first and foremost is absolutely required, fundamental in if we want to survive as a business, we must innovate or die. Two, we approach it by tying it into just the way we get things done. Make sure that in every backlog item that we're addressing, some percentage of that is around innovation, and we tie that into our process. And then we also approach it by embracing failure. You can't learn from your mistakes if you don't make mistakes, is a famous quote. And so we're all about let's try lots of different things so that we can learn, innovate, and move forward. So our approach to innovation, again, is fundamental to our success and where we are today as a company. And when I see the most successful companies on the face of the planet, those that are really, even those that are in that $1 trillion club, they understand this and they've embraced this innovate or die philosophy and building it into their processes. But that's kind of our approach and philosophy here at Sigao.
Yeah, and like absolutely how we approach things. And I think a lot of people, Chris, get caught on when you think innovation and you think new ideas, you get stumped because you think so big. You think, oh, I've got to create the next Amazon. And it's like, that's not how Amazon started. Right. He didn't, what Amazon is today was not what Amazon started. And even Shipt, we all know the story of Shipt. They didn't start out as just a grocery delivery.
Yeah.
And so that kind of transitions to the next question. And I think this one, might be tough, but we'll see.
Okay.
So how do I know if my idea is a good idea?
Well, here's the simple answer. Your idea is a terrible idea. Most ideas are bad ideas, and that's okay. We act on bad ideas. The difference between companies that succeed, the Shipts, the Jeff Bezos and Amazon and Bill Gates and Microsoft, it's not that they come up with a great idea, but it's the humans and it's their persistence and ability and focus on learning. And so how do you know if your idea is good? More than likely, just assume that it's a bad idea, and that's okay. But what you need to do is take your idea and make it into a great idea. And the way that you do that is, first of all, really, really focus and be very intentional about understanding the humans that you're working with. Diving in, talking to them. That's why product owners, we say in our training, the product owners need to spend 50% of their time with their customers and 50% of the time with their teams. And the reason we want them spending so much time, it's always pushback that I get on every product owner that I work with, including myself as a product owner, is that's a lot of time. But when you spend that time with humans and when you become Jane Goodall in the jungles of South America, observing and living among the primates, you begin to understand your customers, your humans, in a way that you cannot understand from a distance. And when you understand, when Jeff Bezos spent time and was willing to try lots of little things, understand the humans and their problems and find new, unique ways to do it, and try really, really small, make really, really small bets, that's where you find the good idea. Just assume your idea is bad, and that's okay. What you're going to do is be persistent at learning the humans, understanding their problems, and not being afraid to fail, to try the small ideas, to try lots of small ideas to come up with the one big idea that's going to be successful. And that's what Scrum really at its heart is about doing. Let's take these really big bets, these big systems, these big ideas that are millions and millions or billions of dollars to go do. Well, let's take all those big things and make them really, really, really small and break them down to the smallest idea possible, the smallest experiment you can do so that you can learn and so that you can pivot, constantly be driving in on take that bad idea, learn the ways that it's bad, getting feedback from your customer, and then building something that is great and being persistent with it. It's the thing that you look at Shipt, it's Bill Smith. It's not the idea of grocery delivery. It was Bill's willingness to pivot. It's Jeff Bezos's willingness to pivot. It's Microsoft. It's Satya Nadella's willingness to pivot and not assume that they have it right, but try lots of small things till you get it right.
Yeah, I love that. And so some takeaways from that is you are not your user.
Absolutely.
So, and feedback, and pivot and validate those ideas before you go and spend tons of money on something that people don't actually want or need.
Yeah. We tell people we've got customers that come to us and they want an app. And we have to tell them, well, an app's going to cost you $100,000 to $200,000 to get an app out to market. And they all have a heart attack. But then some of them want to go forward and pay it. And the reality is often those apps, they don't need an app. They don't even understand if they have the right problem to solve. And instead of spending all that money, can you spend $100 to put an ad out and get some feedback from customers? And in fact, Sigao, we're completely changing our development model around that idea, because we don't want people coming and spending tons of money with us and building something that doesn't need to exist. We want people coming to us to solve human problems and create value in the world and spend as little amount as possible to create something that people love. And that is how we're fundamentally changing there, because we've seen it ourselves, we've done it ourselves, and we want to fundamentally change that. Don't build an app.
Yeah.
Solve a problem.
Yeah. 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
So we're going to transition to a Scrum question, because you were talking a lot about the PO in your most recent answer to the how do I know if my idea is a good idea. We talk about getting feedback from your customers, and so that involves your PO most of the time. And so we have a question from Hakeem, and Hakeem wants to know how to build a great relationship with a new PO. Hakeem is a Scrum Master, so why don't you take it from the Scrum Master's perspective, and if you want to weigh in on the team members and even the stakeholders, that would be great as well.
Well, and I'll be specific, because the Scrum Master and product owner, that relationship is so vital to successful Scrum. You've got to have a really strong partnership between your PO and your Scrum Master on a Scrum team. But the way you build that is the way you build any human relationship. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes focus to build trust. And so something that I want to see new Scrum Masters, new product owners, and a new team going to lunch together, spending time to get to know each other and understand how you're going to work together. Because in that partnership, every product owner is different, every Scrum Master is different. And when you add those relationships, you have an infinite number of approaches to human relationships that we're doing. If you add the team to it, every team has their, all those families or problems that we often see. Everyone's a little bit different. So the most important thing, and I would tell Hakeem, is to, one, get to know them as a person. If you're not physically located, and I know where Hakeem is, they might not be physically located in the same city, do a Zoom lunch. Get together, eat food. If you like video games, get on and play some video games together. Do something that has nothing to do with work and make that investment. Get to know each other as a person. And when you understand the person and understand how you're going to have your interaction, then you're going to be able to deepen your relationship over time. So first, spend time that's not work. If you're a Scrum Master and product owner, then begin to talk about the ways that as a product owner, how can I support the Scrum Master in their role? The Scrum Master is all about building team cohesiveness, helping the team find vision. Product owner creates purpose and creates this vision. So what does the Scrum Master need to help that? How can the Scrum Master help the product owner? So talking about things like how you're going to structure your backlog. What are ways that we want to iterate and make a better roadmap, and how can we work together on who's going to go put the cards inside whatever tool we're using? Just have that conversation, understand how you're going to work together, and then make sure you have the the secret code. Hey, if I say this and I get ticked off at you, I'm not going to fight in front of the team. We need to carry our disagreements offline and into a different place, because when the scrum master and product owner fights and have those fight, well, it happens, and it should happen as part of the forming, storming, norming, forming process. When you hit that storm, what you don't want to do is have it infect the team. So make sure that there's this code of, hey, you ticked me off. We need to go offline and have our conversation, get our stuff handled, and then come back to the team and build that. And so, I've seen that often. Again, it's okay to be ticked off with someone on your team. It's okay to have that time. In fact, it's natural. It's unnatural not to find that pain point. Just make sure you have and you build that beforehand. Talk about how you're going to disagree, and work through that. So the same exact things you do to build your regular day-to-day relationships, do that. And all of these things, like your code, hey, we're not going to fight in front of someone. Here's the code. Or here, when you say this, I feel this. All those kinds of things that you see marriage counselors do, that's you're going to be doing the same thing. I often will say that the Scrum Master is the team's marriage counselor, family therapist. So just take that skill, focus it on building that relationship, and spend time doing it, because every minute you spend doing that, it's going to decrease the amount of time it takes you to get to that performing and that hyper performing state that you want to get to.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, Chris. And one thing that I love about Scrum is you never tell anyone on the team how to do their job or how to do work. There's no task assigning. And so however that individual works best, they're able to embrace that. They're empowered to use their own work style. And that's part of what a Scrum team does, is they set expectations with one another. And, it really helps that you get to really hone in on the strengths and weaknesses of each of your team members.
Yeah, having those strengths and weaknesses conversations, having the conversations of how I work best as an individual, how you work best as an individual, and then how are we going to work best. But spend time having those conversations as a team. You're building it. It takes time and it takes effort, but don't avoid it. Make sure you're spending that time. That's one of the things when you look at teams that are truly hyper performing, that are able to work together, they spend enough time and they've been intentional about understanding each other in that process. And it's a really cool thing when you see teams that have that connection, that simpatico, whatever the term is. One, it's a lot of fun to be on that. I've been on those teams, and that's just so much fun to be part of that team. But it's also highly valuable, because good grief, the amount of work and the kinds of problems you can solve when you have that are phenomenal.
Yeah. So we are going to take one more question before we jump into a fun announcement. But so our last question is, how do I encourage innovation in my organization, and what roles should the senior executives play?
So senior executives can kill innovation and do it completely unintentionally. The way I've seen companies that truly want to embrace a culture of innovation is they embrace a culture of failure, of this failing fast, failing often, and failing forward. So celebrating it. And so as a leader, I've coached this around before. I've coached this to executive leaders leading thousands of people with huge budgets. First of all, as a leader, if you want a team that embraces innovation, you embrace your failure and you're open and honest about the ways that this is what I've done. I tried this thing and it didn't work and I completely screwed it up. But here's what I learned. And talk about that with your team. Normalize failure, normalize the learning from failure. What you don't want to have happen is someone tries something, they fail and they get their wrists beat, they get fired, all these kinds of things. You're going to completely kill anyone's desire to go try something new. So lead by example, humble yourself, be willing to be vulnerable to your team, and show them that you have truly a safe space that embraces learning. When you can get that culture that says, yeah, we're going to try lots of things. Most of the things are not going to work. And so we need to try them fast. And we need to make sure we're making small mistakes, not big mistakes. There was a story as I was reading about Jeff Bezos actually recently. And someone had just gotten into this leadership position and they made what they describe as the worst decision of their life. They bought shelves that were too tall put their most important item on this tall shelf. And so everyone was having to reach, and it completely killed productivity. And so they were trying to find the cheapest way to solve the problem. And Jeff told this director, first of all, cool, go fix it. Go spend whatever money you need to fix this customer's problem so that we can move fast. And then let's talk about it. Let's talk about what we learned. But no, you're not going to you tried something. Cool. The worst thing you do is not try something else. So that embracing and making it a safe space to try things, to fail, and to learn from the failure, talk about it, and embrace it. And leaders need to embrace that and build that into your DNA. And the way you build your company's DNA, the way you build it into your team's culture, is it starts with leadership, leading by example. And it takes a long time to build trust as a leader. It takes one mistake to completely kill trust. So leaders, you have the responsibility of it takes a long time to build it, one thing to screw it up. So make sure that you're really focused on it and you're really intentional about it. Leadership's not easy. And this is one of the ways it's not easy, but one of the ways it's also super powerful in what you can do.
Yeah, and that's a really great thing about here at Sigao is we most of our teams work in 1 week sprints, and that's really encouraged by the leaders at Sigao because you get some stuff done in a week and you're like, oh, this was great, or wow, that was terrible. I never expected that. But guess what? You've only spent 1 week.
Right.
And so we always aim for shorter sprints so we can iterate and pivot faster.
Yeah, we want to speed. And Sigao, we're a small company. We can't afford big mistakes. We have to afford lots of really, really small mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so those 1 week sprints are really an important step and good insight into one way we're able to embrace failure as a small company that doesn't have Jeff Bezos's resources. We have a very small fraction of Jeff Bezos's resources. And so we have to make each individual failure small, but we need to embrace it. And good grief, have I screwed up? I've made some fundamentally big issues, but I want to talk about it and see how fast we can learn from it.
Yeah.
And some of those mistakes have pivoted into what you're about to ask me about.
Yes. So I was just about to jump right into that. That's all for our questions today. We'll send out emails to any questions that we didn't get to. But yeah, I'm going to let Chris jump right in right here. But I want to say that this is it's a pretty big deal for us. So we're excited.
Yeah, this is exciting. We actually we had our 52nd learning team sprint yesterday. We've officially been doing it a year. When we started at Sigao, we are a product development company. We help people develop code. I stumbled in and had some really cool opportunities. Didn't stumble. We got lucky, and with luck being preparedness meeting opportunity to be trained by some of the world's leaders in Scrum and scaling Scrum. And then we became trainers in doing this. And so a year into officially having a Scrum team focused on this, well, one of the mistakes we made is we were really confusing the heck out of people. Are we a product dev company, or are we people dev? Are we doing training? Are we doing development? What the heck are we? And that really messed up our marketing message. And so what we've realized is we need to separate those messages. And so as part of that, we are creating a sister company. And I'm super excited. This is our first kind of public announcement. This is really quite public announcement. We're going to be making some bigger ones in the coming weeks and months as we begin to build Kavu. We couldn't come up with a normal name. We have Sigao. We couldn't pick a normal name. We picked Kavu. Kavu stands for Ceiling and Visibility Unlimited. It is the crystal clear sky. You go out, kind of the opposite weather we've been having lately. It's a blue sky. You can see for miles in any direction. It is a meteorological and a flight term that is the absolute safest weather to fly as fast as possible in. And that's what we want to help. So Sigao is going to continue to build phenomenal products and create, we call it from idea to scale. We want to solve human problems and help you go through that process. Kavu is going to help people understand how to go do that. And so our training, our coaching are building to Kavu, but we've really stumbled into something even bigger. We don't want to be just another training and just another coaching company. Kavu is a community-based learning platform. It is the first time Sigao and our co-founders are building and bringing a full-fledged product to market that it is our product. So Kavu is similar to Pluralsight. It's probably a little closer to your gym membership, but your gym membership for your company, for yourself, all around building training. So we're going to offer like Pluralsight on-demand training. We're looping our Launchpad. We have Launchpad. We're building a how to start a Scrum team that Haley's team is building. We have some DevOps courses that are coming, OKR courses. We have design thinking that are coming. We have a lot of different things that are going to be offered in on-demand learning. But where we're unique and we're fundamentally different than Pluralsight is that we're also offering our instructor-led certification level training as part of the membership platform. In addition to that, we know that coaching, that training is going to, and even with the best trainers in the world, you're going to get about 10 to 20% content retention. So you're out there, you learned a lot in class, and we do a good job of building these highly engaging, really exciting, really cool classes that we're very proud of. But even the best class and the best learner isn't going to get it until you actually get to that moment of needing it. And that's where coaching comes in. But coaching and training and this innovation, innovate or die, we talk about the importance of doing that. I can train and teach you how to go do that. But until you face the problem head on, it's going to be really difficult to know what to do. So what we're bundling into our membership platform, in addition to the community learning, in addition to the on-demand training, the instructor-led training, is a whole suite of coaching opportunities. So when I said kind of that gym membership, so thinking a gym membership, you've got the equipment, you got the people you're meeting, but you also have these semi-private classes that you have access to. No other training company is doing and bringing these services together into one platform. And we are super excited within the next, like I said, the next weeks, we're in the last home stretch of building it to begin to let people begin to purchase these and get in. We're going to be doing lots of content in there, lots of stuff, lots of opportunities to build these communities and offer it at a price that more people can embrace it and to come in. Training is expensive, coaching is expensive. We want to make it more approachable so that more people can get access to this. More companies can build these sustainable, life-changing companies that solve human problems. And so as an announcement, and this is something we're not going to push out on our social media platform other than through this and other than through our alumni program, is a request for test pilots. And so we want people that can give us feedback. We've done some things that are just not going to be great, and we want to get feedback on it. We've done some things that are going to be phenomenal. We're going to solve problems. We need to begin to learn. And so we're building our test pilot program, and we're offering the opportunity for people that are on this webinar to sign up for it. kavu.co/test-pilot. This will give you access to be on a wait list, to get into our program, to get a month free access to it. We're even going to throw in at the end of the month with feedback, the opportunity to take an additional course from us within the next year. But we do want some feedback. And so we're announcing the test pilot program. Go out to that link, sign up for it, and join our test pilot program out there. In addition to that, we have some upcoming classes. Haley, you want to talk about those?
Yeah, so we have our upcoming courses. These are our courses that y'all are probably most familiar with. We have our Scrum Master Product Owner certification. We have a Scrum Master only course, and then we have some Scrum Master Product Owner certifications later on as well. We just wanted to put those dates and times up there for y'all to share the good news. And remember that if you refer someone and they take our course, we will send you $100. So feel free to share this if you need this graphic or anything like that. reach out to us. We'll send it your way. But we're really excited about Kavu. We hope that you join the test and are a beta tester for us. And also, you heard us talk a lot about innovation and how do I know if my idea is a good idea? And so just know that we didn't say 2 weeks ago, oh, we should do this thing called Kavu, and we know that people will like it. We've been behind the scenes testing and doing customer interviews and validating this, and the changes that we've made over the last 6 months and even year from this training program are crazy. We've changed prices, we've changed membership levels, we've changed from not having a membership to having a membership, and listening to our customers and knowing that we are not our customer. So let's talk to those people, and that's what we need you for as well. We need you to go in there and tell us all the things you love, tell us all the things you hate, tell us the things that don't make sense. And if you have an idea and you are confused on how to go through this type of process, reach out to us. We would be happy to walk you through kind of what we did for Kavu and what we do for other companies to help them validate their business idea. But yeah, so hop on to kavu.co/test-pilot and sign up, and we're really excited.
All right. And I'm just going to leave. I'm going to be the random blue square. I'm going to leave that link on. We are at our time box. It's been phenomenal having you. We can't wait to the next step on our journey as we launch, as we take off Kavu and we go further, faster through the power of innovation, power of Scrum and agility. Thank you, everyone. It's been phenomenal, great, phenomenal opportunity to answer some really cool questions. Can't wait to see you next time.
Thanks.
All right, it's ended.
All right.